He very carefully and deliberately diverts the conversation away from the most crucial point. The most crucial point? What's that then? Whether Blaze was actually shot in the dark or not. She was not. Haha. Haha, I was correct. Are you saying that Blaze weren't shot when it all went dark? Do you recall where we concluded the shot was fired from? From where Strappin had been standing on stage, weren't it? Yes, and to hit Blaze from that distance with a single shot in the dark would be impossible. But we know that's where she done it. But we know that's where she were done in from, don't we? So we do. There's no disputing where the shot was fired from. But when the shot was fired, that's a detail. But when the shot was fired, that's a detail about which we still have room to maneuver. Reading is difficult. What do you mean? When were it fired? I mean, if only it hadn't been pitch black, Blaze would have been an easy shot from that location. Do you see? So now, when do you think the shot was fired that killed Blaze? It was during the performance. Bayek, Prof. Not during the performance. Exactly. We know where the shooter was standing, and we know that there was the noise of a gunshot. When you consider these two facts together, there's only one logical conclusion. The gun used in the final scene of the play were the real gun. Correct. Unbelievable. I skipped one. We need to find some evidence that Blaze was actually shot while the performance was underway. I hear you, Prof. I'm on it. Let's start investigating. Alright, so her blood is mixed with the blood of the thingy-mabobber. Yes? Is this the evidence? This is the proof we need, isn't it? Well, unfortunately not, Lucy. Blaze was supposed to act out her death as Strapping shot a blank from the gun he had trained on her. But she weren't. She was shot for real, poor lass. And that difference in the course of events sure to have left a trail of evidence behind it. I know. We need the hard evidence. Right, on with the job then. Zoom out. I wonder what this deductions thing is. That's not what I need. This is what I need. Right there. I found a remote control, Prof. That must have been used to detonate the squib and burst Blaze's bladder of fake blood. Blaze would have been the one to push the button, wouldn't she? How come it was chucked away here in the bin? Yes, what does that tell us, do you think? What does that tell us, do you think, Lucy? Oh, what do you think does that tell us, Lucy? Oh my god. It wasn't used? If the remote's here in the bin, then chances are Blaze never pushed the button at all. There you have it. Despite failing to trigger the squib, blood poured from Blaze's wound during the performance. Because she was actually shot with a real gun, a real-ass gun. And we have the entire audience as witnesses. That's hot evidence then, isn't it, Prof? Yes, well done. Let's hand the remote over to forensics and have them confirm the button was never pressed. I'll go and ask them right this minute. I've been and asked them. I've been thinking while I was gone, why would you want to kill someone in front of all them witnesses, eh? That, Lucy, is the biggest mystery of the case. If his aim had been even slightly off, he'd have given himself away in an instant. It's hard to see what was driving him, I must say. Well, there's no point about worrying what we don't know yet. Let's continue our investigation based on what we do know. Blaze was shot with a real gun in the final scene of the performance. Now that we have established that, the events that followed in the darkness start to fall into place. Oh why, there's plenty of questions to answer now. Firstly, Blaze's scream. Secondly, the gunshot that rang out through the darkness. Let's get to the bottom of those two curiosities. The second gunshot couldn't have been from the railgun, because there was 5 bullets left in the round, and there's only 6 bullets per round. Shot in the dark. Shot in the dark, and you're to blame. Let's get this straight. If Blaze were killed during the performance, what were the shot? Oh, it's her speaking about it. What were the shot that everyone heard when the lights went out? My guess is that it was fired by Strapping as a part of the whole deception. There's sure to be evidence on the scene somewhere that proves he fired a second shot. I'd best get looking then. Start investigating? Yes. Okay. Think this may do? This is what he used. Strapping must have used this replica gun, no? I bet that's it. Let's see. Prop gun was found behind the set. He would have had to work his way round to knock out Clegg from here. But he would have had to work his way round to knock out Clegg from here, then if you're right. Is there any evidence you can find that would support that idea, Lucy? Yes. It is proof Strapping moved in the dark. Zoom out. Zoom over here. Zoom in. Oil stains. This is the evidence. These oil stains are a bit telling, aren't they? Ah yes, they must be from the oil used to lubricate the replica gun. He must have been running his hand along the back of the set here to feel his way in the dark. Without a doubt. That's how Strapping worked his way over to where Clegg is. He groped around the dark until he located him, then hit him and knocked him out. Nasty stuff. This shows us the person who had the replica gun passed this way. In other words, it's proof that Strapping crossed behind the back of the stage in the dark. We're getting closer, Prof. Now this. I'm not sure what to think of this. So if Blaze were dead as a doornail before it went dark, she'd have had a hard job screaming, eh? The most obvious explanation is that it was someone else who screamed. Lucy, who do you think actually let out a scream in the darkness? Do you think it was a Clegg? Leave this fanatical. I think it was Clegg. Ah. It's hard to imagine he would be able to scream in a way that would fool people thinking it was Blaze. I suppose you're right. He's a bloke after all. So, it's either Destiny or... Yeah, I think it's Destiny. Well, if it weren't Blaze who screamed, the only other possibility is that Nox lass. Quite. Neither Strapping nor Clegg would have convincingly imitated a woman's scream. But that's not quite the whole story. We already have evidence to suggest that Strapping told Nox to scream. We do? Yes, it's all there in the suspect statements. Which statement tells us when Strapping most probably told Nox to scream? When it came, the lights were Destiny. Oh, okay. After the blackout, I heard Gloria scream. I know that scream anywhere. She's my idol. It was definitely her. Let's see. Mr. Strapping bumped into Destiny. I panicked a bit because it wasn't in the script. Ah ha ha! Ah ha ha! Hey, yup, Mr. Strapping bumped into Destiny. It sounds dead fishy, that does. Agreed. Knocking her over would have given him ample time to tell her what he wanted to do. What? So Nox was an accomplice then? Not exactly. If she were really his accomplice, they would have plotted the whole thing together from the start. Eh? Why didn't they? That's a bit odd, isn't it? Seems there's more of this seems that there's yet more of this than meets the eye. We've honed in on some truths, it seems. And prove that Strapping is the killer. Oh, that's the phone. I'll get it. It was forensics. They said the remote switch weren't pressed, just as we thought. Okay. That clinches it. Shall I call strapping in? There's still something that's troubling me a little, but I'm sure we've got enough. Yes, call him in. Hey, I can't wait to tell you. I can't tell you how much I've been waiting for this. But why did she agree to scream? I can't figure out why she agreed to scream. I wasn't expecting you want to see me quite so soon, Precious. Don't get the wrong idea, Mrs. Strapping. Come now, don't be bashful. I like a woman who takes the bit between her teeth. I'm telling you, this is strictly business. Mr. Strapping, if I may. We've managed to identify the criminal responsible for murdering your fiancée. I knew it. Didn't I tell you it was someone from the audience? Tell me the wretch's name. Hehehehe. The killer, Mr. Strapping, was you. Oh, Precious. If you want to get my attention, there are much more effective ways, you know. No, Mr. Strapping, Lucy is quite serious. You killed Miss Blaze. What a disappointment. You really are an artless pair. I've already laid it out for you on a platter. The killer was hiding in the audience. He or she made their way onto the stage in the darkness and pulled the trigger. With one fateful bullet, my darling's heart was pierced, and our love rent asunder. Oh, woe. Sorry, but that doesn't stack up. It'd be almost impossible to have killed her with a single shot, and here's why. The murder weapon was a gun? It was pitch black on stage. When the gunshot was heard, the stage were in total darkness. How could anyone have taken aim when they couldn't even see what to aim at? Ah yes, I remember you suggesting that idea before. In which case, surely the accusation of my own guilt meets with a sticky end, no? On the contrary. It is precisely the fact that Miss Blaze was killed with a single bullet that incriminates you, Mr. Strapping. I'm quite sure I don't follow an explanation, sir, if you please. Shot the gun in the show. Miss Blaze wasn't killed during the blackout at all, was she? No, her life ended a few moments earlier, on stage during the finale of the show in front of a full house. What a fantastical idea. Your imagination is wasted on this job, Precious. You should hand in your notice and become a dramatist. There's not imagined about it. Then pray tell, how do you explain that blood-curdling scream that pierced the darkness? Every member of the audience in the full house of which you speak heard a woman scream. I'd be willing to bet it was Miss Knox that screamed. What rot? You're clutching at straws now. Everyone actually there said it was Gloria who screamed. That's just because when the lights came back on, they saw Miss Blaze lying down on stage. Faced with a scene like that, who wouldn't assume that she was the last that just screamed? And just before the lights went out, you bumped into Miss Knox. It's in Mr. Clegg's statement. That's when he told her you were going to need her to scream once you cut the lights. You are quite deluded. This is all utter fabrication. We're not deluded at all. You know it's the truth. Stop trying to deny it. I have absolutely no recollection of anything you're saying. Your so-called evidence is all circumstantial. Do you have any conclusive proof at all? I haven't seen a single shred of hard evidence. Oh, we've got proof, all right. How's this for starters? The replica guy. Here you go. Oh. I hardly think that qualifies, Precious. That's not what we concluded, Lucy. You can't have forgotten already. Oops, sorry, Prof. I guess it was the stains? Oh. Wait. Oh, yeah. She didn't press the switch. Isn't that the squib remote? Aye. Which should have been carried by Miss Blaze for her to push the button in time with you firing the blank. But Mr. Strapping, the button were never pressed. So it's a bit hard to explain where all the blood came from in the final scene, eh? No, that can't. There's only one explanation for it. There's only one explanation for it that makes any sense. I think you know what that is, don't you, Mr. Strapping? She was bleeding because you shot her with a real-ass gun. Clearly Gloria forgot to take the remote control with her at the time. There's no way out of this, Mr. Strapping. You can't explain it away. You shot her, no question. Nonsense. That's weird. That was solved a lot easier than I expected. Encore! Whoa! Whoa. You what? You overwhelm me before your barrage of illogical claptrap, but now I've recovered my paws. I'm not guilty. I was framed. Clegg was behind the whole thing. I don't much care for your constant ducking and diving, Mr. Strapping. I had no idea when I pulled the trigger. I thought it was the replica gun. Oh, what a cruel error. I only realized my mistake after the fatal deed was done. It was the recoil that alerted me to the truth. I've had just about enough of your lies. You can't trick us anymore. Oh, but my dear Lucy, he's telling the truth now. Oh, crikey, not again. Someone very carefully arranged for a real gun that looked exactly like the replica to be there at the scene. Yes, that part of all this way was very much a premeditated crime, but everything that followed, that wasn't driven by lust, nor by heartache, nor by insanity even. No, what followed was nothing more than an ad-lib scramble to hide the truth. Come on, Prof. You're not saying there was someone else involved that switched the guns over? Oh yes, there was someone else involved, the mastermind behind this whole charade. Just the sort of killer I like. You're getting rather carried away in your soliloquy. But despite your rather crazed demeanor, I believe you've got to the truth, Inspector. Do you think? It was Knox all along. Indeed, the root of this evil is Clegg. He's the one who switched the guns. After all, the man was head over heels in love with Gloria. Bit of a funny way to show it, isn't it? Why then, do you ask, did he feel the need to kill Gloria in front of a theater full of onlookers? The answer, of course, is staring you all in the face. Hey, enough of this high and mighty know-it-all attitude. You're the guilty one, don't forget. Guilty? Moi? Au contraire, I am the victim in all this. Listen to you two, yapping like dogs. Am I going to have to cut out your tongues to get you to shut up? There's really no need for violence, Inspector. Aye, keep your hair on, Prof. So, strapping. Yes, what is it, sir? You pulled the trigger of what you thought was a replica gun and shot a bullet right through Blaze's heart. Then, to avert suspicion, you cut the lights and had Knox scream as you fired off a blank. Just to be sure, you fumbled your way over to Clegg, knocked him out, and put the gun in his hand. Isn't that how it happened? To the letter. Bravo, Inspector. A brilliant deduction. You're admitting it now? I didn't think you'd fold so easily. Ugh, so you're a coward as well as a crook. What are you talking about? I did it for justice. Director scorn at Clegg. He switched the guns. He is the true criminal. Clegg switched the guns. Don't make me laugh. Remember Blaze's dead body. That mouse of a man doesn't have the flair for such an inspired death. Inspired death? Hey? Oh yes, inspired and beautiful. Final scene. The audience on the edges of their seats and pow, shot through the heart. Blood spilling everywhere. The stage washed with crimson glory. Magnificent, wouldn't you agree? Is this fellow quite alright? What are you talking about? There's not magnificent about murder, Prof. You don't see. No, I do not. And I don't much want to. Not the way you're seeing things right now, anyhow. At least you're plucky. Wait. I just had a thought. Do you think it was Gloria herself? Was this She killed herself in order to incriminate her husband. Think, Lucy. Who is the mastermind behind this crime, and what is the evidence that proves it? You've both seen the evidence already? Couldn't be more plain. Oh man. And what is the evidence? The letter. Where's the letter? Where's the letter? The remote switch. That's what it is. She planned this all, and she didn't bring the switch with her. She knew she wouldn't need it. Oh my god. It was Gloria Blaze! She was the mastermind behind the whole thing. And the remote control that proves it. 100%. You've really lost the plot now, Precious. Gloria's the victim of this terrible crime, not the perpetrator. Lucy's absolutely right. Thank goodness you're back, Prof. Sorry if I alarmed you. Yes, the remote control we found discarded in the rubbish bin. I believe Miss Blaze threw it away on purpose. What ludicrous suggestion! Why on earth would she do such a thing? Because Miss Blaze planned all of this right from the start. She was responsible for switching the guns. She knew she was going to be shot dead that day. So she had no use for the remote control. That's just... I don't understand. Why would Gloria orchestrate her own murder, for God's sake? Yes, what was going through Miss Blaze's mind to make her take such extreme measures? The answer to that is written in a message you have already seen with your own eyes. What message? The message that Miss Blaze wrote to you and left for you to find. Lucy, would you care to explain? Yes. The death threat. You'll pay for betraying me. You'll pay for betraying me. That's what Miss Blaze wrote, and she meant the message for you. Is it starting to make sense now? Not the affair. But she wouldn't have killed herself like this because of a silly affair. You'd have to be out of your mind. I think it's fair to say Miss Blaze was not of sound mind. Driven to madness as she was misstrapping by you. Mystery solved. Again. Wow, it's pretty crazy. Al, are you here? Oh, hello, Detective Lawson. Have you got some new info for us? Yes, I have. Lads had found a typewriter in Blaze's room, identical to the one used to type the note you found. And they've proven it was Blaze who ordered the gun, too. That's the proof we needed. Lovely job. Who'd have guessed the victim was the mastermind behind the whole thing? Amazed you figured it out. So tell me exactly who did figure it out, Eh? What do you mean? The Prof and me, of course. Who else? That's what I'm asking. I don't follow. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm going to have to leave. Oh, it's not like you to head off so early, Prof. Is everything all right? Yes, perfectly. There's just a program I'd like to see on the television, so I'll see you tomorrow. Okie dokie. See you later. Bye, Al. Nice work. I bet the Prof's jiggered after all that excitement. Excitement? What do you mean? I'll tell you what I mean. When he starts getting on a roll with his questions, that he changes ever so sudden when it happens. I see. How does he change exactly? Like you wouldn't believe. For starters, his hair goes all wild and disheveled. Hangs down in front of his eyes. It's that creepy it is. Makes him look evil, it does. I see. Anything other than his hair that changes about him? Oh, aye. His whole personality. That's the worst bit about it. It's the way he says stuff, I suppose. He gets all high and mighty and mardy, and, well, it's just plain scary if truth to be told. I mean, do you know what he said to me and the fellow that were here before when we were arguing? No, what? He said we were yapping like dogs and he'd have to cut out our tongues. And he was being serious. Can't blame the man for having a sense of humor. It wasn't funny. He was so intense, I'm telling you, it's dead frightening. Must be very difficult. Aye. Well, that dark side of his is starting to get up my nose. He's that far away from Lucy lamping. Try not to lose your patience. Oh, I'm trying. Hard. By the way, Al doesn't ever come out with any unfamiliar names when he's like that, does he? Hey? You know, he doesn't start talking about people or places that have nothing to do with the case. No, I can't say he does. I'll tell you something he did say, though. He said that her death was inspired and beautiful. Really? Why are you so interested, anyway? Oh, no reason, really. It's just... Well, if he does mention any strange names when he's like that, be sure to let me know. On the quiet, okay? On the quiet? Yes. It'd be better for all that way. How come? It would. Just trust me. Oh, okay. If you say so. Just make sure he doesn't find out you're reporting to me. And that's that. File number 3, a murder staged. Case closed. I'll see you guys next time on Let's Cats with file number 4, the walking corpse. Bye!